Set, watch you throw the ball. We gon' pick it off. You gon' let him hit the hole or you gon' cut it off. You gon' play through fourth and long or you gon' punt it off. Your defenders, heavy hitters, put your pads in. Don't be looking for the ref to throw no flags in. Keep the helmet on, keep the cleats tight. You the type to want to win by any means, right? You should look alive. This is Trap or Dive.
Yes, sir. Welcome back to another episode of Trap or Dive Podcast. I am your host of Trap or Dive Podcast, Mual and Mual. The fellas are all in here, man. And for the record, because I got to be fair to my man, AJ, he beat me to the studio today. You know, put that out there. And Dre was late, albeit he was here. He was here when I started up the intro. But the fellas are in here. AJ, Dre, everybody's in the chat. What's up, kid? What's up, Monty? Everybody that's watching live, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch. Appreciate everybody watching live on the YouTube side. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We always appreciate that. Twitter and Twitch. You can watch over there, no big deal. But if you want to migrate over to the YouTube side, man, we definitely appreciate that as well. Also, this is a call-in show. So right now, if you want to call in, what's up, Jarrell? If you want to call in, you can do that. We gotta get some shit off our chest first, right? But you can do that right now. You can find the link to call in the YouTube description for the show. So the link is right there. Go ahead and wait it out a little bit backstage.
Can you pin it? Can you pin it in the comments?
I can't pin it. It could be in there, but I don't know if it can. Let me see. I'll put it in there for everyone. Yeah, I'll put it in there for everyone. It's not going to go to Twitter, by the way, for anybody that's watching on Twitter, but it's on Twitch and YouTube. I don't know if it's a clickable link is where I was getting at, but it's in there. And if it can't, just go to YouTube description. It'll be right there. Audio side, same thing. Hit that follow button. Hit us with a rating review if you can. It takes 10 seconds to do so. And it's free to show your support that way. We always appreciate it. You know what time it is. Just hit the button. The show is brought to you by not Henny today, Underdog Fantasy, as always. But what's up, fellas? AJ, Dre, what's going on with y'all?
Shit, ready for preseason week 3 with this goddamn wide receiver group we got.
Hey, Jay Tizzy online talking about something, bro. I might as well get the cleats about the garage, bro, and get ready. I said, shit, let Luke get hurt. Luke get hurt. I'm at Ashburn next day. Like, hey, man. Look, I just put the cleats up for flag football, but if you need your boy, I ain't gone nowhere. You know,
they got Treylon Burks
for practice.
What Treylon Burks gonna do? He up there. They just signed him. Practice squad. He gonna get elevated.
Yeah, that just tell me honestly, like how much in despair this team is, bro. Like, and I'm not like not from a pessimistic point of view, but like really, they're taking a flyer on Treylon. Like there's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. He came off, he got released from Tennessee because he was hurt, but also he underperformed. Like he just didn't live up to the bill. I mean, it's gonna be hard to do that when AJ Brown is the person they expect you to be. Yeah, like that's one thing, but he just generally didn't live up to the bill. So I think with everybody that they had, like Robbie Chosen, Tay Martin, Ja'Cory Brooks, the status for Debo is up in the air, right? So when I talk about the names that I mentioned, I think you just glad that you're going up against the Dallas Cowboys, bro. Because this ain't the week let me inverse that. This is the week to like try to just survive from the pass game standpoint. One thing I say, my bad. Like one thing I say, bro, is like I was talking to Aaron. He'd been on the show a couple of times early on. And I had made a comment that this is rehashing the offseason, right? Like their actual plan essentially was like, yo, because they went into the offseason, they went into the draft with just Terry McLaurin and Luke McCaffrey on their roster. They had no intention on really taking or addressing the wide receiver position with any veterans outside of the people that they already knew. I think they tried to get OZ back, right? And I think they shorted him on the money, and he chose Chicago. I may be wrong. Somebody fact check me on that, but I think it was him. And outside of that, they just went with rookies wherever they could, or they just built up. Obviously, with bringing Noah Brown back, they banked on a guy who just stayed hurt. I think
I was gonna say, but they didn't anticipate Terry being hurt. He's supposed to be the reliable one.
Yeah, and that's where I'm getting at. Like what they banked on, and where I was getting at, like this was a top heavy unit to begin with. Like you had to have Debo and Terry up there to be like a really strong unit, right? Despite what Luke and Jalen and company has done, because Noah hasn't really been around. Think about it. Like, even with Luke making these splash plays, they're both of those, Jalen and Luke, are averaging like a catch a game. Chris Moore is averaging like a catch a game outside of that Monday night game. So I'm not, again, like, it's not a pessimistic point of view. It's just being realistic. Like, they are one of the least explosive pass offenses in the NFL right now. And I think for Washington, they don't have. They really need as all hands on deck, as much help as they can, and I don't blame them for going after Treylon. They got to figure something out. They're going to take a flyer on him. I don't know if he's going to be ready to play right now, but I think the state of the receiving core, not to exacerbate it, they can obviously try to run the ball as much as they can and utilize the weapons that's in front of them, Zach Ertz and Luke, I guess. But hey, Dre, like, I don't even know. I don't even think Terry playing the way things are going, especially if he missed Thursday's practice. With fucking wild.
Dan Quinn, and I'm trying to figure out what the hell is up with the quad, because to me, I'm going back to the initial injury report when they said he was getting second opinions. All of us, AJ, you, Jamal, we all sat up there and thought that was peculiar that he's getting a second opinion, because if he's getting second opinions, that means that the first opinion wasn't good. And some people try to tell us, oh, it's pretty normal for people to get second opinions. Okay, we waited it out, and now here we are, fourth game. Well, we're about to enter the fourth game that he's likely to miss, and we still don't really have a timetable of when Terry could come back. Dan Quinn said earlier this week that he's going to practice this week. He said, I think he said on Tuesday that Wednesday would be the jog through, and then he said we're going to go full speed on Thursday. So to me, when he did whatever he did yesterday, it must hadn't responded well, because he didn't practice at all today. So I don't know if there's any optimism that he's going to practice tomorrow. And then when Ian Rappaport puts out there that they just signed Treylon Burks to the practice squad, and Ian Rappaport also put in that same tweet, he's likely to get immediately called up. That tells me Terry's likely not playing at all this week. And again, we don't know when he's playing again. So that really that has just set the team back at this point. And I think this is going to be the game, because last week we talked about the Chicago game, and Chicago's run defense and all. And I had a feeling that wasn't going to be the game that we were going to get off on the run, because Chicago had 2 weeks to prepare for. Chicago is going to be prepared for the run. I think this is the game where you probably got to go in with that mentality that we're going to have to run the ball. It's probably going to have to be closer to that Raiders game, where you went into that Raiders game and you dominated on the ground, because you don't have any wide receivers. You don't really have guys that win in man coverage like that at this point. I mean, or at least they could prove they could do it on a play-by-play basis. Like, I feel like even with the Cowboys having a bad defense, this wide receiver group probably isn't trusted enough to go into this game where you feel like we're going to just dominate pass wise. We're going to let Jaden go out there and put the cape on. I think this is the game where you're going to have to go in and say, we're going to have to see if we can bully them up front and then get what you can get after that.
Yeah, I mean, I think with the Terry situation, it wasn't even just a second opinion. It was 4 opinions, been four different doctors. So that's why I felt like he's just trying to force himself to come back, because of all the scrutiny that he was getting from some fans, and also some fans supporting him, and trying to really promote the fact that, that he hasn't missed any games, and that he isn't the typical 30-year-old wide receiver. But, bruh, you obviously are not good to come back. Like, that's the main thing. And I think even if Terry was on the roster fully healthy, or Debo, they still had a need at wide receiver. I always felt like they should have been more aggressive in that. To rely on Luke McCaffrey and Jalen Lane to be those guys is unfair to them. Then you bring in, certain guys in the mini camp and training camp period, like a Michael Gallup, like you're already saying that you got issues when you bring in a Michael Gallup. You got Chris Moore. You had two other guys, Tay Martin and
That's what I was thinking
Corey
about. Michael
Brooks.
Gallup. Like you got some nerve. I mean, granted it was a trial, but you got some nerve to bring that dude in, bro. And like they had fans thinking that boy was about to be his.
Yeah, but I mean, I say all that to say like this roster has always needed wide receivers. I know y'all have talked about Robbie Chosen. I've seen him work out recently in the offseason, personally, hands on, and he still can move. I think he could provide you more than what Chris Moore is giving you. You just need a guy to run some routes and get open.
Catch the damn ball.
Yeah, and be consistent in some spaces. Even Traylon Burks. I haven't followed up with him too much in his NFL career because he's been injured often. But like coming out of Arkansas, he's a bigger dude. He's not like as shifty getting in and out of his breaks, but he has size that they don't really have on this roster currently. He's like 6'2", 6'3", maybe like 220, and he can run. So I just think that it's just a peculiar situation overall. Because I mean, I don't know if I touched on Noah Brown publicly on this show, but I told you guys privately that he wasn't really gonna be playing. And it's interesting that they now put him on the IR. He has a combination of injuries: the quad, the MCL sprain that wasn't reported previously. So yeah, he's not playing, bro. He's not gonna play for the rest of the year. And I just think that Washington needs to figure out how they can get that position a bit healthier. Robbie was with Cliff, so he knows the offense. He was with Cliff for a little bit in Arizona.
Oh, all right. I don't know why I was like, this might freeze. Okay. Yeah, where are we at? Jay Tizzy is mad at Terry, or not mad, but he's a little frustrated with Terry. He also said, I don't think we should go jumbo and run. We need to spread Dallas out and run the ball. Well, I don't think anybody about to respect our pass game right now anyway. So, I mean, I don't know. But yeah, man, it's unfortunate, bro, because you're in a really big spot. And honestly, when you think about what this offense is capable of, like Cliff Kingsbury acknowledged it in his presser today. Not specifically that angle, but he just said like the funk, like the mystery behind this offense, and he is acknowledging that this offense hasn't been able to practice with their like starters in forever. If I can find the exact quote, he mentioned. Let me see if I can do a quick scroll for Cliff Kingsbury. Unless you all know.
I know the quote you're referring to.
Yeah. Help me out. I think I got to do some scrolling.
I'm paraphrasing, but I know he says something along the lines of, we haven't really been able to practice as a unit fully, even since training camp. Like, Terry was missing for training camp. Noah was missing for training camp. So, Sam Cosmi was missing for training camp. So you didn't really get any of, the cohesion with the starters to practice fully. And Cliff sounds a little frustrated. He sounded frustrated in the offseason when he talked about it, when he tried to say, it's time to get guys in, it's time to get guys practicing. Because up until this point now, the offense is still top 10, right? In most of the categories, they're still the one, the strongest unit on the team. But we haven't seen this offense really perform to its fullest of potential. And I think that's really frustrating to a guy like Cliff. Cliff wants to go out there and dominate. Yeah. Cliff knows he has the quarterback to do so. But when you don't have all of the parts, and Cliff also brought up a great point in that Jaden is Jaden. You can say what you want about Jada. Oh, he had the turnovers. Sure, he cost you the game and all of that. But he still looks like that guy. He still looks like that franchise guy because he's elevating, as I said on X earlier, role players. You would call these guys role players in the NBA. But he's out there like a floor general, still elevating these guys and making guys that probably wouldn't be a third option anywhere else on someone's team. He's making these guys at least look competent and look, efficient. And the offense is still keeping afloat, but they're still not performing at max potential. And I get Cliff's frustration at this point.
Yeah, he said they haven't been able to consistently practice as a group since camp started. It impacts timing between quarterbacks and receivers. But he mentioned that Jaden has done a tremendous job lifting the group up and is playing at a high level. All to summarize essentially what you said too, Dre. Yeah, honestly, bro, and I was on the show with RJ Ochoa, for those who know, blogging with the boys, SB Nation. They are the same or equal to the Hawks Haven side. You know, I told him, I was like, bro, at this point, it's like the Jaden show. Like nothing else matters. It's just put him on the field and tell Jaden, hey man, just do some shit. And let's try to win this. Like, of course, he has they have a run game that they can like at least depend on. But like I said, like when we talk about explosive plays, Chicago did an excellent job of limiting the explosive plays and on the ground. Because I want to be clear, right? I did say this specifically, like they're one of the least explosive offenses in the pass game. They're pretty explosive in the run game. But like for them to get limited against Chicago, like it wasn't like a huge deal, but it was also something to like just let you know, like if you aren't capable of having like this curveball, this changeup, right, you're going to be in trouble. And I think for Washington, especially against Dallas, a secondary that is just as worse as Washington, or just as bad as Washington's secondary, if not worse, in terms of just allowing the explosive plays. This is an opportunity just for Cliff to be as balanced as possible. But you're gonna have to need some horses. I don't even know what Debo's status is. He didn't practice today. Him and Terry wasn't on the field. But so like let's kind of put a bow in this conversation with this question. What is your confidence level in, I mean, Jaden is one thing, so I want to be clear, like we understand that part. But the receiving core without Debo and Terry, like what do you think they are capable of on a given week, specifically Dallas, because they're up now. But like, what is your confidence level on a scale of 1 to 10 with this receiving core? Chat, same thing. Like, what are y'all confidence level in the receiving core if Debo and Terry is unavailable?
I'm gonna be honest with you, bro. Without Debo and Terry, it's got to be somewhere lingering between the 2 and the 3. And I mean, that's because we don't have enough of a sample size or a track record that any of these other guys can be standalones, that any of these other guys can, go out there and make it happen on a consistent basis. And even with Debo last week, so Debo's been kind of the main guy for the last couple of weeks, right?
Yeah.
But Debo is a guy that still kind of dictates some kind of coverage or some level of responsibility from the defense, as we saw with Luke McCaffrey's touchdown. Luke McCaffrey was able to get butt naked open because defense was focused on Debo Samuel. Now, when you remove a Debo Samuel from the lineup, you don't have a Terry out there. You don't even have a Noah Brown out there. Who does the defense have to key on? They're not going to trust that any of these receivers can go out there and beat them one-on-one. And that's not to say that I don't like any of these receivers or anything, but they haven't proven at the NFL level that they can be a standalone guy and that they can kind of carry a unit like a Debo or a Terry has proven that they can do in this league. And I think that puts more pressure on a Jaden Daniels, because I think as defenses look at that, they're going to force, they can start sitting on routes. They can kind of play you like Green Bay Packers played you in a sense, but they can sit on routes, sit on short things, and kind of force you to beat them deep. Now, these guys can go out there and prove that they can do that, but we don't know that they can do that. So my confidence level that they could do that is low. And, going into this game, I just think I think it puts more pressure that you don't want to see on a Jaden Daniels. You want to see Jaden Daniels go into a game, not having to put the cape on every week. Like, and that's what it feels like most games he goes out and plays. I mean, not even, just talking about the receivers. I mean, I was listening to local radio earlier. One of my good friends, Linnell, was on, and Linnell was kind of complaining that the offense hasn't been getting as much smoke as the defense gets. And for me, I'm like, sure, I will blame the offense for what I mean. I will blame them for what they do, for what they did on Monday, sure. But I'm not going to be angry at the unit that's used to carrying this team. Like, I want the defense to go out there and show that they could pick these guys up sometimes. You know, I want to see other guys on this team show that they could pick a Jaden Daniels up when he fails. Like, Jaden's not going to be perfect every game. Yes, I mean, he's going to have games like, you know, every now and then, like the Chicago game. But can someone else pick Jaden up? And I don't feel confident in that receiver group alone without a Debo or Terry that they're going to pick Jaden up. But you got what you got, right? So you got to go out there and find out. So we'll see if it has to go like that on Sunday. Hopefully one of those guys at least can go out there and make a name for himself. But confidence level 2 or 3.
Yeah, so Robbie Chosen, I think he's been around for 2 or 3 weeks now. So I think this is probably an ideal opportunity for him to get elevated. They've elevated Tay the last couple of weeks, I think, or 2 times in the last 3 weeks, something like that, of that nature. So they have probably an idea of who they want available in the event that Debo isn't around and Terry isn't around. But hopefully, like, Debo is just taking rest days. Jay Tiz, you got me crying, bro, internally saying that they were saying that they ran Debo into the ground already. Bruh, if Debo got ran into the ground 6 weeks into the season, bruh, he might as well get the walk-in too after this season. Because that's
contract year too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah.
we can't keep him around if he. I mean, I know it ain't happening, but like, if he done after 6 games, we ain't got no. What you doing? All right. So, one thing, if we're talking about the game itself, is like I think when we look at the Dallas defense, we understand like they're terrible in pretty much almost every category, right? But I think from their perspective, like the zone defense that the Dallas Cowboys use primarily, right, in majority of the snaps. Another thing that I was thinking about when I was talking to RJ is like, you know, I didn't know, like, from a week-to-week standpoint how they utilize, because I felt like they are typically an aggressive unit. But, you know, they're a little bit upset because, like, the way they implement their zone coverage is it's not necessarily they can change things up, right? They have a window of opportunity to change things up. And I think for Washington, the one thing that I think they have to look out for, just from a schematic standpoint, especially when you're down from a receiver spot and you don't really have no real threats to stretch the field and things of that nature, like I don't think none of these guys are afraid to man up, or even the coordinator himself. I don't think they're going to be afraid to man up on Washington's receivers. And what does that mean for you know, Jaden and company, right? You do have an opportunity to counter, because if they're man coverage and you can beat that initial rush line, you can make them pay on the back end with your scrambles. Of course, they'll probably have a spy around you because that's kind of the coverage that and the defense that Jaden dictates, right? That's what he demands. But from a pressure standpoint, like going majority, or what's the word? I'm drawing a blank on the word that I was thinking about. But if you have like a change in your scheme in this week, I think this is the opportunity for Dallas, and something that Washington will have to look out for and have an answer for. Because if you can pressure from that first and second and third level, you want to play a little bit more man on the guys that Washington has. They're going to have Washington is going to have some people to step up and win beyond the first level, beyond that second level. Because that would be the only thing I can think of from Washington's standpoint. If they struggle to score points, is if the change in tendencies, which is the word I was thinking about, is like if the change of tendencies impacts Washington's ability to move the football against Dallas. Again, terrible unit, but like an opportunity exists for these guys, especially since they've been terrible so far. They don't have anything to lose if they change something up against Washington, who's struggling from an injury perspective.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of like the Bears game, right? Like, I mean, we thought we were going to just be able to go in and run all over the Bears, and that's what the Bears game plan for. They game plan for Washington to come out there and run on them, and we didn't have the success on them that a lot of people thought. So, you know, that's why I'm thinking, you know, a lot of people think coming into this game against Dallas that Washington's going to come in and, well, before the injuries, they thought Washington, it's going to be a shootout, right? But that's why I think this is the game where you probably have more success on the ground against Dallas, especially, Dallas can be a little bit aggressive. So you want to kind of beat that aggression. And, you also, like I said, you had a game where you didn't have success in the past game with the Packers. And I think Cliff knows that. So now Cliff can kind of adjust to that. Now, how do I react if I know I'm going into a game where I don't have my best weapons or at the wide receiver spot? I'm going in with a makeshift group. What can I do on the run game? And that's why I really think this is the game where you're going to see, if Washington is going to win this game, I think it's going to be a game they win if they have over 150 yards rushing in this game as a unit. So, Bill, that's one thing. Chris Rodriguez, he may not be playing. I know he's been dealing with an injury. He didn't practice today or yesterday, if I'm not mistaken. But this may be a Bill and J-Mac game, like those games. And even Jaden, this may be a game where he gets off in the run game. So, I mean, I don't think this is going to be the traditional game where they go out and they're going to, just kind of beat Dallas in the air. And if they do, that'll be surprising as hell. Like, I hope that's the case. But I just feel like this is more of a game where you can go out there and really kind of dictate on a running game, just like some people thought you could have did against the Bears last week.
Defensively, Brad, Dak, that's the one person. I don't care if CD back and George Pickens, I got a lot of respect for him. I'm scared of Dak. I think just from and when I say scared, I don't mean like literally, but just knowing how potent he can be. He's just a person who is really a solid top tier regular season quarterback. Like, that's not going to change when he plays against Washington. And I think for how Washington needs to defend these guys, I think Joe Witt. What do you think about Joe Witt's pressure today?
Somebody said something. I can't remember who, but they said he got a new stat for this trash ass defense every week. this week, the stat was tackling percentage or something like that, where he's like, we got to be 1% better.
When I heard that, bro, I said, in my head, I said, I was like, this nigga got something for everything. I didn't think of it as a negative, but I was like what, bro? And he said,
he always got answers.
Yeah. All right, there we go. He always got answers. I was like, bro, this nigga got something for everything. Bro, the dude said 12%, and if we 1% better, we top 10. I said, so you trying to tell me that we not that bad at tackling? Like, what does your ass tell you? That's what I'm thinking. But I'm also like, I wonder what the narrative would be if they knew the percentages where it ranks, and if we were a top 10 team in terms of missed tackles, what the narrative would be. But yeah, I don't know, bro. Like, I told y'all how I felt about Joe Witt on Tuesday. I don't think the F word should exist with him right now, right? But I do think, like, if your team and your unit is just not turning things around, despite how much you say and how much confidence you boast in your pressers, your weekly pressers, then we're gonna have to have a conversation. But like, where does the changes begin? I don't even think he mentioned any type of potential changes in his pressure. Like, he talked about practicing better, trying to create opportunities for turnovers. But like I said this before too, like, if it ain't in you, bro, it's not. Paul's like, if it's not, you ain't got it, bro. If you ain't got it, you ain't got it, bro. And teams have that knack for creating turnovers, and some teams don't. And like, it when you see it, bro. Like, this is not an opportunistic defense. So I say all that to say, to get back to Dak and company, if you cannot create extra possessions for your offense, bro, this is going to be another game where we're talking about death by 1,000 paper cuts. And this team is more explosive than you think. I don't know what everybody thought, but this team is super explosive too. So you're talking about, like, they can hit you with a 4-play drive that ends in a touchdown. Like, that's just how Atlanta, what they do when we scored that one touchdown. They went 2 for 70 and a touchdown, bro. The Bijan Robinson jump where Bobby got picked off. So I just think for Washington, like, obviously the biggest thing for them is to create turnovers and opportunities or extra possessions for your offense. But if you also aren't getting pressure with that defensive line, where I think is the best unit, despite what it's looked like from time to time, this defensive line is the best unit that they have on all three levels. If they cannot create chaos for Dak, then that is a conversation where we're talking about at the end of the game, and we're saying, yo, he had a 300-yard day.
Well, you know, the scariest thing to me about going into this game is Dorrance Armstrong may not be playing. That scares the hell out of me because he's arguably the best player on his defense right now. He's definitely the best edge rusher on the team at this point. And if you're going to make Dak uncomfortable, because Dak, let's be honest, Dak's playing at the MVP level right now. I mean, as you said, Mual, great regular season quarterback. We haven't seen it in the playoffs yet, but he's playing at an MVP caliber level early in this season. And if you can't make this dude uncomfortable with the issues you have on that back end in the secondary, even the second level of that defense with the linebackers, the offense is going to have another day where they're perfect, or at least close to perfect. They can't make any mistakes. Any mistake could lose you this game, because if you can't get the Dak and, force him to be uncomfortable in any kind of way, you may not stop them all day. They may not punt all day. And we're talking about scoring drives at least every drive, which worries me in a sense, because now what do you do? So this is a game for me. Now, I know a lot of people don't like when I do this, which is fine. I'm okay with that. But this is a game for me that's going to kind of fall in on coaching. Like, we know what we have as the personnel, but how do you, Joe Witt, how do you scheme up something knowing that you may possibly be without a Dorrance Armstrong in this game? Can you generate some blitz packages or anything that makes Dak uncomfortable in this game? Because I honestly don't think this is a game that you could just drop for, you could just rush forward the passer and just drop it coverage, because Dak's too good of a quarterback. He's going to eventually find somebody. He's going to find the open guy, and they're going to dot you up. This is a game where I really think you're going to have to get some kind of pressure and something on Dak to make him uncomfortable. So I'm looking at Joe Witt, and this is not an easy thing. Don't get me wrong. This is not going to be an easy task for Joe Witt, but you don't pay these guys to make easy decisions. They have to make hard decisions. We pay these guys to find out solutions to your problems, and we've been having problems all season. But I want to see Joe Witt, and I don't want to just nod in or hone in on Joe Witt. Dan Quinn, Jason Simmons, everybody involved with that defense, Ken Norton Jr., all of those guys. There's a lot of smart minds in that room, but we need to start seeing some solutions. And this is a game where I want to see the coaching staff earn their bucks, because this is a game that I do think that's going to fall on them, because you don't have the great guys out there, and we know that going in. But how do you overcome not having your best players out there, like maybe a Dorrance Armstrong, even on the offensive end? You're going to have to scheme something up that's going to start, that makes this team look a little bit better than they are. I think that's what those coaches are for.
So for Rob, he asked I thought was a good contributor to the conversation. He asked, should we just rush 5? And I don't think that is the answer in itself. I think what Washington has done well under Joe Witt, when Joe was in his bag, is forgot the word again. Like, I don't know why my brain just drops in these moments, but simulated pressures. I'm sorry. Simulated pressures. Like, he'll show 5 or 6 man fronts, right? And he'll only send 4. And I think from that aspect, it all depends on alignment and where a person is aligned at that point, right, Rob? You're talking about is Frankie Louisville on the second level, or is he lined up on the edge? Is Frankie Louisville mugging the A gap, or is he, I don't know, like, I think that's one of those things, or is it Bobby Wagner that's mugging the A gap? Where is Jordan McGee on a given down, right? Sanderstill, they use Sanderstill on a fire zone last week, right? And Mikey got picked up. But like, it's the idea of creating these additional pressures, right? That I think when we're talking about how many should they send or how many should they rush, I don't think it's a number. It is the scheme itself. And that's pointing to your conversation or what you're saying, Dre. It's the scheme itself and how aggressive are you up front in your calls, as well as like your twist game and things of that nature. Dorrance Armstrong being injured is a worrisome thing for me. The pace that he was on to start this season, I hope he's available on Sunday. Because now at this point, you're talking about if he's not, you're increasing the usage rate of Von Miller. And while that's not a terrible thought, it's also like he came in here for a role. And like the more he plays, it's dangerous on his end. I'm talking about health wise, not necessarily performance wise. And that's kind of where, like, depending on who you all have out there, it's worrisome. So for me, Rob, I appreciate that question because it's important. Like, it's about scheme up front and not necessarily how many they should rush. AJ, are you here?
Yeah, it is AJ.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here.
All right. Well, go ahead, Dre, right quick, and then we'll get your thoughts on the defense. You was about to say.
I wasn't. I wanted to see if AJ had any thoughts. What's up,
right.
AJ? What's going on? You good? I know you told you were sick earlier, man.
Yeah,
you still sick, man?
I'm straight. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, defensively, I don't think there's a cure for it. Like, I think that each week is different. The Cowboys offer a balanced offensive attack. I think Javonte Williams is like 3rd or 4th in the league in rushing yards so far. Now you also put CD back in the scheme with George Pickens. It could be a long day for that secondary if they don't get their act right together. And Dak's not the easiest guy to bring down. So it'd be interesting to see how they go about stuff and if they utilize McGee a little bit more in the passing game. Because you got a lot of things to worry about with crossers, with CD in the slot. Mikey's having his struggles in the slot, all these different things. So, yeah, I mean, it'll be an interesting matchup come Thursday to see how Joe Witt Jr. Tries to defend this offensive scheme.
Hey, look, bro. Shout out to you. All we needed was 2 first downs and the game was over. Yes. But let's not rehash that because I lost too much. I ain't gonna put the number out there. I lost too much money on that fumble
to make new money. Starting tonight.
Yes, absolutely. I just had to make sure. Shout out to you for commenting. I pull off. I ain't gonna say the whole name, which is crazy, but yeah, bro. Monty is hilarious. He said, "I'm at the point. Just get off the field on 4th down." Like they not stopping his soul on the first 3 downs. Okay. Funny enough, speaking of statistics, he says, I think he said something about how they get off the field on 4th down really good. He think they do a good job on 3rd and 4th down. I'm like, it's crazy. It's crazy how much a week or 2 weeks can change things. Because going into the Atlanta week, they were number 1 on 3rd downs. They were number 1 3rd down defense. Not even 3 weeks later, they're bottom 3rd.
You know what that tell me though, Maul? That tell me that the sample size wasn't that big on them 3rd downs. They weren't getting the 3rd downs that often. They were the number 1 defense on 3rd downs.
Yeah, I didn't. And somebody said everybody. I remember this vividly because it's like sometimes all I do when I post things, I just post the stat for what it is. Like I'm not over here bragging. And dude said, y'all don't ever learn y'all lesson. I said, what the fuck does that mean? And then lo and behold, like a couple weeks later, they're terrible on 3rd downs. Obviously that has a lot to do with how 1st and 2nd downs are going. But also like they've been giving up. It didn't matter where you were in terms of like between 1 yard to 10 yards. Like they was giving up 3rd downs at a pretty easy clip. All right. So again, we did have call-ins. Let's get into right now as we do some. Let me rephrase that. We did have call-ins. If you want to call in, go to the YouTube description. And you will see the StreamYard link to join the show. At this point of the show, probably take 1 or 2. But in the meantime, let's get into our over-unders and our score prediction in the event that nobody calls in. That's why I don't be, not to put no pressure on nobody, but that's like sometimes when we actually do the shit, people don't call in, or they do it when we're about to close out.
I know.
So it's like, oh, I tried to call in. All right, let's go ahead and get into our over-unders right quick and get ready. Oh, where's underdog? Okay. Let me see if underdog got the game up now.
They
That's
never have that shit up when we do this show on Thursdays.
Yeah, that's what I'm about to say. The only thing with underdog sometimes is they don't have the stuff up so far. All right, we got some action. Okay. All right, we got some action. Let's start with passing yards. We're gonna go with Jaden Daniels. Oh my God. Jaden Daniels is at 228.5. Let's start with him before I go to Dak. Higher or lower?
You know, when I make decisions, I usually go off of if they're due or not. And I know Jaden had 211 last week, but I want to say over so bad. And I'm gonna say over. Only reason I was hesitant is because of the receiver group. I'm like, we might not be passing that much, but because I think we may run so much or whatever the case may be, and that number's at 228, I'm going over 228.
Well, so they have a passing and rushing yard combo. Jaden is at 280.5. So that's the passing and rushing yards combined. If you want to do that, we can do that. Matter of fact, let's
over. Yeah, I'll say over both.
Okay, so we're gonna go higher on 280.5 on Jaden Daniels passing yards. I'm with you too. I mean it's the Jaden show. So I don't think he's gonna go. I think he's having a 300 plus yard day in terms of passing and rushing yards combined. What about you, AJ?
Yeah, I think that he'll be over that yardage. I think that Dallas defense can't stop him.
All right, we see
even with the wide receivers to his disposal, I think that he'll be productive in the passing game. Because Dre, you just said that he threw for 211 against the Bears, right?
Yeah, 211 against.
And that was in rainy conditions. So with this being indoor and possibly having some guys in the mix that can catch the ball, I think he's eclipsed that. And I also agree with you. I think it might be a 300 plus.
AJ in the woods. He hiking. Where she live at, AJ?
Hey, bro. And you got a flashlight, bro?
She told him to park on the side of the road and walk through the trail.
And make sure you got your.
Y'all hearing.
Make sure you got your CCW. Bro.
I hear crickets. That's what I hear.
So we got Jay Tizzy over, Ben's under, Monty over, Rob over, Coley over. Dak Prescott, this is just passing yards, not passing and rushing. Dak Prescott, 260.5. We're going higher or we're going lower?
I'm gonna say over, man. I mean, that's just the safest bet. That's the safest bet. I'm gonna say over.
Hey, I'm damn. Gotta go higher, bro. It's about to be a show at 425. Them boys about to put on the show. Yep. AJ, where you at, bro? Higher or lower on Dak Prescott 260.5 passing yards? This guy. All right. See, man. Hey, we not about. I'm not adding them back to the show again. It's just us two. I done did this like 5 times, bro. All right. Rushing yards. Javonte Williams. It's a guy I liked in the offseason. I was actually upset that he went to Dallas because I like the player. So now it's like, well, what do I do now? But he's at 267.5 rushing yards. Javonte Williams. We're going to higher or lower on Javonte Williams rushing yards?
I think lower because we had a bad rushing week last week. So, and yeah, I'm going to say lower. They'll bounce back in the run game this week.
Okay. See, this is where the confusion comes in because that's my dog. I think he's gonna go higher, but I think we're still talking about like I think like in the 70s, maybe 80s, which in relatively speaking is still a good day for Washington's defense. Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt Bill, he's at 74.5. Higher or lower?
That's a high number. I didn't expect it to be that high, honestly.
It is.
Damn. Man, I'm going to say over just because of my earlier prediction that this is going to have to be a ground game. So I'm going to say Bill, he's going to have a chip on his shoulder from the fumbles the last 2 weeks. He goes over 74 yards.
Okay, so we have JT is hilarious. Under for Williams. Coley said under rushing. Monty says, and I'm assuming these overs coming in are for I should have read them before I went to Bill. But I'm assuming Monty, Rob went over on Javante, and then Monty again went over on Bill. Jay Tizzy said under on Bill, and Coley said under on Bill. Ben said over on Bill. Okay, so we got a couple more. And just when I thought that Underdog had all of them up yet, they have one. They have one person available for receptions and receiving yards for Washington. That's how damaged the receiving core is for Washington.
They don't know who playing.
It's Bill. They don't even got Zach Ertz. They don't have nobody, bro. It's just Bill. So it's all wide receiver action for the Dallas Cowboys, which is at this point it's whatever. We're already in the mix. So let's go ahead and we're gonna do receiving yards for two. We'll just stick with CD and George Pickens. We ain't gonna do too much. CD Lamb is at 73.5. Are we gonna go higher or lower for CD? 73.5.
I'm gonna say over just because Dak's gonna spread the ball out, and if I think he's gonna get over 270, then somebody gonna eat. It's gonna be between him, Pickens, and Ferguson. So yeah, I say over.
I'm gonna go lower for CD. Because the next guy, okay, Monty says over. All right. I'm gonna go over or higher for the next guy, and George Pickens. He's at 56.5. So I think that GP about to go stupid. I'm talking about like I sliced it. I don't want to slice it. I can see him getting like 80, 90. So I'm going higher for George Pickens Sunday.
That Pickens, it's gonna be funny when him and Marshawn Lattimore line up. It's gonna be somebody getting a personal foul in this game.
Oh, for sure. That is happening for sure. What'd you say? My bad.
No, I said over. I got over for Pickens as well.
Okay, so we
6, right? Yeah, over.
Yeah.
I'll go.
So we got Benz over, Monty over, Coley over, Benz over. God damn. Rob over. Jay Tizzy said under for Pickens. So because he said higher for CD. Okay. Hey, bruh. I'm trying to remember who said that. Somebody came in here and tried to cook my shit.
A troll,
somebody
man.
trolling for the other team. I forgot who it was, bruh. Hogs Haven. If it's Scott, what's up, Scott? Yeah. Under for CD, over for GP. All right, let's get a guy in for Washington. We'll do two. We'll do Luke McCaffrey. Matter of fact, I like this one because I told you at the beginning. No. I ain't doing that. Hell with him. We're doing the younger guys. Remember, I said in the beginning of the show, they're essentially averaging a catch a game, both of these guys, right? So I'm going to do that. We're going to combine these two, Luke McCaffrey and Jalen Lane, right? Since they're averaging around a catch a game. These two will combine for against Dallas at least 5 catches for 80 yards. 5 for 80.
I'm going to say over, and I'm also going to give a bold prediction that if Deebo Samuel sits this game out, this is going to be Luke's breakout offensive game, because I think you kind of use Luke as a poor man's Deebo in a sense. You probably use him on some of those screen passes, get him the ball in his hands. And I think this might be his offensive breakout game. So I'm going to say the over on the combined. And my bold prediction is that Luke has his offensive breakout game.
Okay. So we're saying at least 5 and at least 80 combined. Tizzy said, shout out to Monty. He remember it was a Bears fan. I knew. Yeah. Rob said they'll get over. Jay Tizzy said over. Coley said over. Monty said hell no. Luke McCaffrey Banga said we'll score this game. He's having a good year. Okay. So I'm assuming I'm gonna give Banga say he's gonna go over. Big Pimpin said Luke will have over 100 yards by himself, apparently.
And why Monty asked what's in y'all drinks? We'll be saying something wild to you, Monty.
No, he's talking about the people in the chat.
Okay.
He not confident in the Luke and Jalen combo, bro.
That's okay. Hey,
so he said, "What's in y'all drinks?" All right, so last one. I like this one, Rob. Well, it's far-fetched given the probability, but will we get a return touchdown in this game? And now, granted, because he didn't say nothing, would it be a defensive return or a special teams return?
That's a good bold prediction. if he's predicting that.
He's saying over under, like, so I'm assuming 0.5. Like, are we gonna get one?
That's too bold for me. I mean, because those are so random. I mean, it could happen because Luke has been returning the ball like a mug. But Jalen Lane hasn't actually been getting those opportunities that he's gotten since the Raiders game. Like, it seems like they're kind of trying to keep him from getting that opportunity when he gets that open field. Because I think teams know how dangerous he is.
Yeah. I'm gonna go under, Rob. Or lower. I don't think that it won't be a return touchdown, but I can definitely see a splash play. Like no question, no ifs, ands, buts about it.
Yep.
Bowie, you asked if Terry's playing. At this point, I don't think we know. He did not practice today. He wasn't around for practice. So again, we're in uncertainty mode with Terry. All right.
It's safe to assume he's not playing, I would say. It's safe to assume.
Score predictions and MVP. Chat, let's hear your score predictions. Let's hear your MVPs for the game. Jerry, I'm going 40-37 somebody.
Come on, you got to pick a team.
Somebody going to win it. 40-37 Washington.
Let's go.
I think Jaden, obviously, and my Marshawn Lynch voice, put the team on your back door. He about to do that again. It ain't really nobody's, and that's all we got is Jaden offensively. Defensively, I actually have a hard time because I don't know if Dorrance is playing, right? So maybe Frankie, man. I think he do. Like he's had good games here and there. That's been under the radar because people are looking for like those like big splash plays from Frankie, similar to last year, which is fair. Like no problem.
He's due.
But I think Frankie is he can have a big game on Sunday. So I'm gonna do Jaden MVP offensively, Frankie MVP defensively. 40-37 is the score. It's about to be one of those weeks.
Okay. I'm gonna go 37-31 Commanders because they've shown, I mean, we're going off of consistency, what they've done this season so far, win, loss, win, loss, win, loss. They respond well to losses. So I think this is a week, even with the adversity they're facing with the missing players and all, they prevail. They somehow prevail. They come through. They win this game 37-31. And of course, I'm going Jaden MVP on offense because who else you're going to go besides maybe Bill or something. But I'm going to say Jaden this week. I think Jaden puts the cape on. Defensively, my MVP, I'm going to go with the guy that has been having a rough season, so to speak, but he's also the one guy that has shown that he can make some plays, and I think he makes a critical play this week, and that's Mike Samerstill. I think Mike Samerstill, he might be hearing a noise. Maybe he comes out with a chip on his shoulder and he makes a big play or two. So Mike Samerstill is defensive MVP.
I was dying laughing. I saw somebody tweet about Samerstill this week and said, "Bro, the dude just got married. He got a little baby on the way. I mean, he got a little baby that he dealing with." He said his wife probably stressing the shit out of him at home, bro. He over here assing it up on the field because he distracted. I'm like, bro.
Bro, I love the theories that fans come up with. I saw a theory that he's always changing, and this was a serious theory too, by the way. The guy said, "My serious theory is that he's changing diapers up all night, every night, and that's why he's not prepared for games. He's changing diapers."
Yeah, bro. Said that lady here stressing him. I'm like, damn. Like, imagine if this is the case, and your wife wants you to put in all this work after you get home from a long day of football practice, meetings, film study, treatment. and then you got to go home and change the diapers and shit like that. Not to say you're not supposed to, but it's like I gotta. I'm the breadwinner right here, respectfully. Like I got a lot on my plate. I would love to spend. I want to spend time with the baby, right? Let me spend time with the baby, but like all the other stuff, bro. Come on, man, I'm spent.
Hey, Maul, Jay Tyler just said something I've actually been saying this. I mean, I'm not predicting or anything, but Jay Tyler said something I've been kind of saying for the last couple of weeks to people is that Jaden is due at some point for that Florida game. That Florida game he had at LSU, at some point, Jaden's the big rushing game, the big passing game. Now, I'm not saying it's going to happen this week. I mean, I don't know when it'll happen, but he's going to do that at some point in the NFL. Hopefully it is this week, Jay Tyler. Hopefully it is. I think that's the game you're referring to.
Man, I hope so. Honestly, no better place to do it than in Texas against the Dallas Cowboys. All right, that's gonna wrap it up for us. Wish we'd have got some call-ins, but it's all good. Worry about that. Maybe we can return to that because it was a good thing on game days, like post-game recaps. So maybe we can try to figure that out on a post-game. But yeah, that's gonna wrap it up for the fellas. We will be back Sunday after the game. Good luck to everybody that's out there putting some plays in for the night. Good luck to you all this weekend. And then until next time, man, we up out of here. Peace.
Chop it down. Chop it down. Chop it down. You gon' chop it down. Chop it down. You gon' chop it down. Damn, set. Watch you throw the ball. We gon' pick it off. You gon' let him hit the hole or you gon' cut it off. You gon' play through fourth and long or you gon' punt it off. Your defenders, heavy hitters, put your pads in. Don't be looking for the ref to throw no flags in. Keep the helmet on, keep the cleats tight. You the type to want to win by any means, right? You should look alive. This is Trap or Dive.